Power and influence can affect both your personal and professional life. Within this video, I'm going to describe how power can be displayed on your resume and how influence can be applied in the workplace to help you advance in your career. I'm Christopher Wilkins, a MBA candidate for the class of 2021 at Santa Clara University. On your resume, you can display several elements of power. For example, on my resume, I describe how I managed the enterprise sales team and grew revenue for the business. During that example, I was displaying expert power, kind of highlighting that I'm an expert in my field of sales. Another example is how I described how I cultivated relationships with key clients and stakeholders. That example is referent power. It's where we utilize my likability, charm, and relationship building to advance. So in both cases, I'm utilizing a form of power that can influence a recruiter or hiring manager when they look at my resume. Regardless of your position, everyone has the ability to gain power. You can do so by using influence tactics. So one example that comes to mind when I think about an influence tactic is I think about a time where my general manager was looking to increase business development activities. What was happening in our company was that the sales rep had two key clients that he spent the majority of the time focused on. And while he was busy with those clients, he was not pursuing new leads, new opportunities. So we were trying to find a way to create a new position or create a position which will free up the sales rep to focus on business development activities. Once the word got out that there was a potential opportunity to take on a role of account manager, several of the project managers began to position themselves for the role. One project manager in particular began to use two types of influence tactics. The first one was personal appeal. In personal appeal, the approach is that I'm helping someone because I like them and you like me. So he was appealing to the operations director using their friendship as kind of a leverage to get the role, saying, hey, you know me, I know you, we trust one another, we like each other, and our cultures kind of align for the role. The other element that he used was exchange. And exchange is basically where you take the approach of a tick for tack, where I help you, you help me. In this example, the junior project manager was essentially saying that he can help the organization by fulfilling the role and doing those extra duties. While at the same time, he's helping the operations director and the general manager by them not having to spend much time or effort to find someone to fulfill that role. His approach ultimately worked. He was assigned the position of account manager. At the same time, there was a senior project manager who wanted the role. And he felt that he deserved the role because he was senior, had more years of experience doing the job as a project manager. And he felt that made him more equipped. However, he did not actively pursue the role with as much enthusiasm and dedication to try to influence the decision. And I think that may have been one area where he went wrong as to why he did not get the role. The approach that the senior project manager could have taken to influence the decision was a rational persuasion type of influence. In this case, he rationalized why he deserved the role over the other candidate. The first thing was that he was highly senior in regards to education. He was a professional engineer and also had an MBA degree. Secondly, he was senior in the years of experience. He's been a project manager for many years and had a lot more seniority. And third, he looked at the best practices that were performed at other companies. In other companies, the role of account manager had a lot of additional duties assigned within that responsibility. And in this new role, they were reducing some of the duties because of the lack of experience that the junior project manager has. So with those three type of approaches, he could have used a better rational persuasion to help the hiring managers, in this case, the operations director and the general manager, realize that he was a better fit for the role. When it comes to using sources of power to influence change in a change process type of situation, I rely on primarily three sources of power that I personally have, which is my expert power, referent, and legitimate power. My expert power, as referred to earlier, is my years of experience in the industry, my ability to do, and my knowing the job. My referent refers to just my power of being able to influence clients and influence other employees to act or perform in a way in which I would like them to perform. And legitimate power is kind of the inherent power you have of being in the key role. My title as a director provide me legitimate power. So utilizing all three powers is how I influence change, and how I would influence change in the change process. I think that you can never use one source of power to drive change. And I think that may have been perhaps the failure of the senior project manager, was he relied completely on one type of power without putting the focus on multiple approaches. And I think you also have to recognize that each person responds differently. So one person may respond to the fact that you're an expert, they may take your word for it. Another person may not care that you're an expert if you're not friendly, so they prefer more someone who's personable. So it all depends on knowing your audience and on who the person you're trying to influence and what's the best approach for influencing that particular person.